Breaker 19. Welcome to Film Seizure. This is Rubber Chucky. I'm here with my boys Gwarb and Jarmo. Jarmo, say what up, son.
I like a Seizure.
It's a Film Seizure.
It's a Film Seizure.
Okay, Jarmo, you say hello instead. Come back, son.
I think I'm dead.
Breaker, I'm here. We got a big old convoy rocking through the night. By the way, if I ever owned a CB, I would only say lines to the song Convoy or Eastbound and Down or the alternate Westbound and Down.
I have problems with those songs, by the way.
Oh. All three of those songs?
No, Westbound and Down actually and Eastbound and Down, they're the same song, right? But
yes, but
how could you be going? It's directionally fucked up.
No, it's when they left, they were playing Westbound and Down, and when they were coming back, they played Eastbound and Down.
But you don't go down twice.
Well, there might be hills.
You wouldn't end up in the same place.
Might be hills.
That's a lot of South. I'm being silly. But that was Jeff and Jason. But Jason, say hello.
Hello. I don't have a CB. I feel left out. I feel left out of the 70s CB fad. I don't have one.
So I'm
gonna have to do this episode from my normal microphone. I'm a trombone, which is fitting for this movie.
Yes, it is. By the way, this movie, if I haven't mentioned it, Smokey and the Bandit, the first film by the director, whose name
Hal Needham.
Hal Needham, his first movie, right?
We are very well acquainted with Hal Needham around these parts.
We are indeed, and we'll probably get more acquainted with Hal as the years go by.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes. I mean, Stoker Ace is out there, so
didn't he do Hooper?
Oh wait, maybe he didn't do. Did he do?
I don't know about Stoker Ace, but he did Hooper.
Oh, he didn't do Stoker Ace. No. Oh yeah, he did. Stoker Ace right here, 1983.
There you go.
Okay, so yeah, this is his first directorial effort. He was a stuntman with Burt Reynolds on a few
The Longest
movies,
Yard.
I think, prior to this.
Yeah, he directed the car chase in The Longest Yard in 1974.
Hey, and we kind of have a connection to The Longest Yard because we did The Godfather. And The Godfather was produced by the same guy who wrote and produced The Longest Yard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Why can't I remember his name either? I'm terrible at this. But anyway.
I can't remember it either. It's gone.
It's on the tip of my tongue for some reason.
Something else took its place, and it will only be swapped out if I look it up.
I don't want you to lose whatever took its place right
it's
now.
Albert Ruddy, right?
Yeah,
yes,
Al Ruddy. Thank you.
Al Ruddy. Shit, wonder what I lost for that.
Yeah.
You're gonna start.
I'm at capacity always, by the way.
You're gonna forget
learn new things. I just have to replace them.
You're gonna forget that. Maybe if you're lucky, you're gonna forget that Sally Field is in 80 for Brady.
Oh my God.
Oh right, shit! Well, I brought that back. Now you forgot that she's in Smokey and the Bandit.
That one hurts.
Yeah, that's a bad replacement move there.
I want to know who the hell that movie's for. I know we're not talking about it, but who the hell is that movie for?
Gronk? Well, I don't know.
No, that movie. I mean, I can't make any money. That movie's gonna bomb like so fucking hard.
Well, it's been out for a few weeks by the time this episode comes out, so we may be wrong.
Could be. I hope not. I feel like I generally have good feelings about this, and I don't think it's going to make much money.
Yeah. Anyway, so
guess what did make a lot of money? Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the fucking Bandit did.
I was lots of money, more than just that $80K.
Yeah, I love all of the assistance along the way that he gets. All those different characters. I want to see a movie about each and every one of them.
Well, they kind of do that in Cannonball Run almost. Like it brings in all the extras to like kind of starring roles a little bit. But that's what I want to talk about with Smokey and the Bandit. I don't know if it was 2 or 3. I saw one of the later ones, I think, first when I was a kid, because early 80s, it was like Cannonball Run, the Smokey and the Bandit sequels, et cetera, et cetera. It's a mad, 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 mad world. Like I used to watch these car chase epic race movies all the time. And it's like deeply ingrained in my memory.
Well, they were on TV so much when we were a kid.
Constantly.
Yeah. I mean, and it's kind of funny because it's like we sit around. No, I sit around and bitch and moan about all the stuff that's coming out like on streaming platforms. But duh, I've already lived through this. 40 years ago, cable was doing the same thing. These movies were constantly on TV. TV was hungry for content with cable and with like Saturday afternoon matinees on the local Channel 4 here. You know, so it's like.
Well, some of these sequels I think were even made just for TV, right?
Yeah. So Hal Needham came back and did 4 through 7. All
That's
of
insane.
which were on. I have the whole set for reasons.
Is there one called?
I think maybe I may need to start breaking into them. Breaker
into them.
Breaker 19. Jeff's going to cover Smokey and the Bandit race movie. Is Smokey and the Bandit? Smokey is the Bandit. One of those movies?
No. Smokey and the Bandit 3. Okay, so you want to know the titles here? You got Smokey and the Bandit. You got Smokey and the Bandit 2. You got Smokey and the Bandit 3. Now that's the one that has no Hal Needham, no Burt Reynolds, no Sally Field. Then in the 90s, he started making the TV movies. You have Bandit. Bandit Goes Country. That's the name of the movie. Bandit: Bandit Goes Country. This one's my the fifth one I'm going to save here. Sixth one, Bandit: Beauty and the Bandit. Bandit. This is the seventh one. Bandit: Bandit's Silver Angel. But the fourth one is my favorite. Bandit: Bandit.
That's fucking amazing. So this did like the Friday the 13th thing, right? Where they couldn't name it.
Except for there's no Friday the 13th movie that's called Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th.
Oh no, but there is one called Jason X Jason.
Right, yes. No, I have a feeling that, well, I don't know, because these are all Universal. This is a Universal DVD set.
Damn.
And you won't believe this, but the only movie that is on a DVD by itself, for some reason, is Part 3. All the other ones are doubled up. And you would think that the first two would be the ones that needed their own disc, and the other ones can go fuck themselves. But no. So there you go.
I'm guessing the first one, like, they packaged the second one with it because the second one wouldn't sell.
That would be my guess. But at least Burt Reynolds and Sally Field and Jerry Reed are all in the second one too. You know,
it's wild that they made so many. I mean, the second one came out in 80, and talk about diminishing returns. I mean, it still made money, but not as much. It made $66 million, which is about half of what the first one made domestically.
Who played Buford in the second one, or was it not Buford anymore? Because Gleason didn't come back.
No, everybody comes back in the second one, I think.
Even Gleason?
And Jackie Gleason's in the third one too, I think.
Gleason,
amazing.
Yeah, but Burt Reynolds is not in the third one.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but everybody, all the principal characters came back.
Yeah, even Paul Williams is in the sequels.
God, I love Paul Williams.
Me too.
Oh my God, he looks like a garden gnome in this movie. I don't know how else to say that without making it sound mean, so I'm just going to say it. He looks like a garden gnome in this movie, and I look at him and I know that at one point in time he was on he was either in the 5th Planet of the Apes movie or he was on the TV show, and he was one of the orangutans, and now I see it.
I'm so proud of you for pronouncing orangutan correctly.
Well, you know what? When you know as much about Planet of the Apes as I do, you pronounce that shit correctly.
The only thing I know about
it from chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
Oh my God.
I like it.
Did you guys write a script while I was like
I still
gone
haven't
to-
done it.
We
That's
might have
from-
just written the new Every Which Way But Loose movie.
no.
Left Turn Clyde?
We can't do that. That's the Planet of the Apes musical from The Simpsons.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right. That's right. Yeah. Damn.
Just when I think you're clever, Jeff.
Me too.
Well, it's my knack for the recall that Jason loses every time he learns something new. Yeah, it's like I have it. It's all packed in
It's
there.
true. It's true. Jeff stores it away somehow. He's like archives it. I don't
Did
have
you know
like
that-
I don't have like long-term memory in my brain. It's all just random access.
Right, you have RAM. You don't have.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Lamar Jackson's in this movie.
What?
He plays Sugar Bear. It's right there in the cast.
Oh,
Lamar Jackson as
no,
Sugar Bear.
but there is someone I recognize.
Well, Sugar Bear was one of the guys that Jerry Reed was talking to right before he gets beat up by the Nazis.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think Grave Robber, I'm not sure, and I tried to look this up. I won't even say it. I think one of those guys was an airplane.
As one of the Jive guys, maybe.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so, but I'm not positive. I couldn't find like solid info on that.
I gotta say that this movie was handled like racial sensitivities pretty well for a late 70s movie.
And it's actually it's PG, so
Yeah,
that helps.
still.
But like Jackie Gleason's character, Sheriff Buford T. Justice, I love that name. When he finds that the black sheriff in Arkansas, what he thinks. But
Oh, I
he
mean,
has
he
to
says
say
He
it.
says it. He says, "What's this country coming to you?"
right, but
Yeah.
but that could mean a lot of things because he's looking over the ridge at him. So on the
It-
surface, you could say this cop sucks.
Come on, man. He started by saying
He
he
started by
started
saying-
he started by saying you sounded a lot taller,
Yeah,
Right.
which
I mean, come
was
on.
another.
Oh, sure, but it's not. But what I'm getting at is that it is not.
It's it's a little clean.
obvious.
It's a little
cleaner.
clean.
It's hidden underneath subtext.
Two things on that is it works because he's the villain, right?
Yes.
Right, absolutely.
I don't though. However, I do, however, wonder if it's supposed to play to a laugh, right? Because I didn't laugh, but I bet the theater laughed, and it's like,
Oh yeah, in the 70s, but at the same time, like if you consider it like Blazing Saddles humor,
yeah.
maybe it's okay to laugh at it. It really like contextually matters, and I don't think
But he's
it was
clearly a
mean.
buffoon. I mean, it's like, and
He's
And
a
it's-
caricature of the South, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And
Well,
there's
he's
like
a
one of my
caricature of
favorite
Texas.
moments. One of my favorite moments in the movie is when the snowman's just gotten beat up in the bar, and the guy comes out with his sandwiches and a drink,
Hugs
and
him.
he gives him a hug, holds his head and gives him a hug. It's like so sincere. I love that scene.
Well, yeah, I mean, Jerry Reed apparently he's a good dude to everybody. Everybody roots for the bandit, but everybody wants to stop and have a conversation with Snowman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of back up a little bit because substance-wise, there isn't a ton to this movie, right? Like,
No,
it's
he wants those fucking 5 million bottles of Coors in Georgia where you can't have them. That's
but where the substance comes in is like all those character interactions,
Right.
and
Yeah, absolutely.
the community of the movie. It's like everybody's pulling for this one guy and working together. It's kind of like a nice story in a way.
It's
You know,
the
What,
early-
what I love about it is that everybody wants to stick it to the man.
Yeah,
it's the
best.
it's the earliest movie of ACAB.
Like when did the right become like the Law and Order party, right? They were sticking it to the man and Smokey and the Bandit. I mean,
Right.
come on, right?
when they realized there was a different man, probably.
But, yeah, whatever, man. So, well, yeah, well, exactly right. They like co-opted authority for their own.
Yes, they
to
just
cover for their own
transitioned.
prejudices. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Transitioned the man, basically.
Anywho, but I love it. I love it. This is a sense of community. Everybody's in it together, and what they're in it to do is to stick it to the man. That is
Yep.
just good stuff.
Because the beer, which is it's the crux of why this whole story is happening. They're moving the Coors across the country, which is kind of funny because I remember when Coors like was able to come west and east and all the commercials that came out for it.
I never knew all of that until when we went to see Joe Bob right before COVID hit, like 2 weeks before COVID ended the world.
Yeah.
We went and saw Joe Bob Briggs, and he was talking about it because like this is his movie. Like he wants
the greatest,
to be,
according to him, it's the greatest redneck movie ever made, right?
and I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And if he could be the bandit, he would do it right now today. He'd take off and just drive beer across the country. But
that really was my favorite segment of his show too, like him talking about all the bootlegging.
And it's like
Southern movies.
That was all news to me. Like I understand the idea of bootlegging moonshine, right? Because you're making something that has not been regulated and has not been approved properly. That makes sense. So Dukes of Hazzard, I get that. But I never knew this whole, like, what do you freaking mean that? But then I thought about it and it's like, oh, my dad always drank like old Milwaukee. It's like all the Milwaukee stuff. Miller was over here. I'm guessing Budweiser could be over here, but like there were a lot of things that couldn't be. And so it's like, it's,
there's a little blurb about this on the wiki page that I read, and it's kind of wild. So I guess it was coveted for its lack of stabilizers and preservatives, specifically Coors Banquet beer, which is the best Coors. Like that is a delicious beer.
That is a true banquet.
It is. It is quite good. That's one of my favorite domestic beers to drink. Is just
it's meaty.
A banquet beer in a stubby bottle. Man, that's good stuff.
Used to many of our earliest episodes. As we are encountering episode number 250, many of our earliest episodes was a lot of Coors being drunk during that time.
It's true. That's
Banquet.
But actual U.S. presidents bootlegged this shit on Air Force One.
That's amazing.
True story, right? So I had no idea either, Jeff. It kind of blew my mind to realize that the plot of this movie is bootlegging Coors. It's not something you would think of, right? Yeah.
Right. And totally true.
Yeah,
I mean, the story is probably not true, but it's a totally true occurrence. Yeah. So yeah, we have Bandit, right? He's the greatest, I guess.
At
bootleg.
something.
I don't even know if he's a
legend.
bootlegger.
He's just a
legend.
He's a legend at things.
He's good at showing off.
He's got the best mustache. He's got the best cowboy hat. He's got the best laugh. And he goes to festivals and rodeos that I'm sure
rodeos.
Yeah, which are like semis, big rigs, like
drag racing.
Drag racing.
Yeah.
Just pouring black smoke out everywhere. Our Earth died in 1976.
Rolling coal, Jeff. Yeah. Rolling coal.
But you know what? I still watched every fucking second of those scenes and thought, that looks fun.
That looks fun. I mean, the stunts in this...
With some curs.
With some curs. The stunts in this movie are pretty awesome. Pretty excellent.
God. The
Considering
car
it's
jump
directed by a stuntman, you bet your ass it should be.
Yeah. And the car jump in the middle of this movie, oh, so good.
Needham drove the stunt. He was the driver for that.
I hope he was. Yeah, I hope he was.
Did you know that Burt Reynolds called Hal Needham the master of suspension? That killed me when I read that.
That's good.
That's great.
Clever guy, that Burt.
Yep. I don't even know what to say anymore. I ruined my favorite line, the master of suspension.
Well, Jeff, my favorite line in this is the whole whatever code it was that was 100 and 200. That fucking killed me every time.
10 100 and 10 200.
Yeah, it's like at least it's not a 10 200.
Yeah, I was gonna take a 10 200 later in this episode when I go to the bathroom.
So I'm also glad that I read up on this movie before I watched it because everybody with the CB radio would have felt like really contrived, except it was fucking true. The CB radio fad of the 70s was insane. The CB channels were loaded with millions of people, like just insane amount of radio traffic.
Well, what else? What else are you going to listen to when Alex Jones didn't exist yet, and you're a truck driver?
Oh no!
You listen to the CVs, yeah.
Yeah, you listen to Jack Burton.
Check.
Well, that's only if you're on the west side. Yeah, that's only if you're on the west coast. You can't.
Yep.
You know, it's like he's only going so far.
This fad went well into the 80s because I had friends who had CB radios in their cars, but also even predating that, friends who had CBs in their houses.
Yeah, ham radios.
And we would try we would try to pick up the truck drivers and stuff, but we're never close enough to any highway to pick up anything. But everybody loves CB radios in the 80s.
It's wild, man.
One of these days we're gonna do this movie, but how does Contact begin? With little Jodie Foster talking on the CB.
Well, I think she's on a ham actually.
Well, a ham radio, but a similar idea, the ham radio. Concept.
Sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Anyway,
ham is more long range though. CB is short range.
Yes,
it's like AM and FM. One's long range and FM's the short. Yeah, AM's the long range, right?
There's a lot more. There's a lot more ham bands too than there are CB. CB was like a limited to just 22 or something channels. Maybe more.
Okay, I'm patenting this now. I want a ham band, which is just ham that you just wear around your wrist, and when you're hungry, you just
like a slap bracelet of ham.
Yeah,
it's like I'm good for lunch now, and I go off and I do whatever.
Piece of ham off my arm.
If it's good enough for Fred, it's good enough for me.
What's that you're eating there for lunch, Jeff? It's my ham band. Okay.
All right. So we got the truck rodeo. This is where I guess this is where the bandit just hangs out. He like picks up Strange at the rodeo.
Well, it's a convention. Like he's trying to sell autographs, but he's taking a snooze. He's taking a snooze.
Now there is so you got Big Enos, right? Yeah.
I love that too. Big Enos and Little
Enos. Yeah. Pat McCormick and Paul Williams.
Steph asked me if we could be them for Halloween, by the way. Should I be Big or Little Enos?
Oh, shit. Who's taller?
We're about the same height. I'm probably a little taller.
I don't know how you would tell the difference because they're both dressed the same.
You're both Big Enos.
Equal Enos?
Same Enos.
Same Enos.
Oh God.
All right. So for now, Big Enos really wants Coors at this hangout that he's going to be at the next time. There's like a competition that's going on that he wants to celebrate because he has a guy set up that's going to win, and he wants to celebrate with some cold Coors. Yeah. So he's already got one guy to try to transport the Coors over, but as soon as he got to Georgia, and he was like filling up, or he was at the truck stop or whatever, he gets arrested because the cops just, I guess, all cops did in the 70s was check fucking manifests.
Well, I mean, bootlegging was a problem.
Well, I mean, I guess so,
Clearly.
but it's like this is the real manifest destiny is the cops in the South during this time.
Manifest check destiny.
Yeah. And so he gets arrested. So Big Enos and Lil Enos are finding their next guy, and they're like, well, the bandit will do it. And it's like, yeah, okay. They just flash some money and they say basically it's what, 80 grand?
Yeah, it's 80 grand. You know how much that is in today's money?
$4 billion.
It's well, as of 2021, it was $350,000.
Fuck, that's an expensive beer. That's
an expensive party.
That is a little bit too much for Coors.
That's
probably. Well, how many cases was it? 140.
Not too much for Big Enos, though.
Apparently not. Was it 400
cases?
80 cases.
No, 400 cases. 400 cases. You're right.
Okay.
See, it's that instant recall. I'm gonna go.
So, all right. When he goes to pick it up,
yeah,
does he just steal it, or does he give it a location?
No. He says leave a note.
They show up early, so they're supposed to be buying it.
Okay.
They show up an hour early, and they can drive forking anything, which is the stupidest, hilarious joke ever.
That's Chuck. You can't say that because you would say that.
Right, but I admit when my jokes are stupid too. It's a stupid joke, but it's funny. But yeah, and he tells
Snowman.
Snowman to leave a note, and Snowman can't spell Big Enos's name or whatever, so he's like, whatever, and throws his book and leaves. So I guess maybe they kind of steal it.
Stole it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, and what's funny is that it was asking to be stolen because they got into that warehouse real easy,
real easily,
and they busted up some of it too. I'm sure.
Yes,
because they're forking around on the forklift.
They did fork and break some of the bottles, but they get it all in the truck and they start heading back. And what they have like 28 hours.
28 hours.
900 each way. 900 miles.
900 miles each way.
Which
Go ahead, Jeff.
900 miles each way. So 1,800 miles.
So 900 miles going 60 miles per hour is 15 hours.
Right.
So it's 30 hours going 60.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Now, interesting thing. Wow. So I do agree with, I was looking at some of the reviews, and I will agree with the one thing that Gene Siskel hit on this movie, and that is that we don't really know when they have to go. They just know when they have to be back.
Right.
So like when he goes to pick up Cletus, we don't know if he's wasting time there. So it's like there is a little bit of weirdness as they leave. But once they're on the road, holy shit, this movie doesn't stop.
Well, leave it to Siskel to find some issue with that in this movie. But
my issue with the movie is when the whole movie stops for like 15 minutes in the middle for fucking and bar fighting, which are both great things. But it's like, get back on the fucking road.
You're invested, right? You're invested. You want them to get home.
It's like, well, what the hell is going on? You're wasting time. Yeah.
But you do get that great scene when Snowman runs over the bikes, which is
and the smile on his face when he sees them, it like makes everything better. It's so great.
Yeah,
it's like it heals his face. It's one.
Yeah. It literally does heal his face because you see him again 5 minutes later when he is clean. So here you go, guys. If you ever get into a bar fight and you get your face all fucked up, just go outside, climb in the first rig that you see, and run over some bikers' bikes, and it will fix your face.
It'll fix your face.
This is nothing a little running over bikes can't fix.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I mean, like, and the other thing. Do we ever actually? I mean, I think there's only like one or two shots in this entire movie that we see at nighttime, which is
I don't even recall any.
There's one part where they're driving through a small town at night, and
because
Bandit almost
Bruce Willis. See, I don't know. Burt Reynolds, he hides. He takes the car and drives it away from the cop, and he hides, and
Oh, yeah.
That's at night.
Can we talk about the Trans Am, because that's a fucking sweet car?
Please do.
I don't know what looks better, that black Trans Am or Sally Fields.
Sally Fields.
Well, that's the other thing. So he gets money for the truck, money for the beer, money for the Trans Am, because he needs a blocker car.
You got to have blocker. And
he just keeps giving him money. I mean, on top of the $80,000, which he doesn't technically get. Well, he probably does. The sequel should have been them going to get the clam chowder. I don't know what the sequel is, but that's what the sequel should be.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
But shit, I lost my train of thought.
Well, no, yeah, you're saying, basically they pay a lot up front.
Yeah.
And then they're going to give him $80,000.
And $80,000 on top of it. But the Trans Am, this is what I was getting to, I read this too. It's a combination of a Trans Am and a Camaro. It's not actually a Trans Am. It has Camaro parts. So it's kind of like a Frankenstein.
Interesting.
It's more Trans Am than Camaro. But
certainly
have
the
you
outside.
seen what modern day Camaros look like? They look like shit. These things are not cool looking.
No, I have not, but now I have to look one up.
They look like generic Transformers that can't get a license for whatever car they're supposed to be.
They look like a kind of a speedy mid-sized sedan. They just look stupid. Now Trans Am's on the other hand still look pretty tough. They just started making them again.
I was going to say, yeah, for a long time they weren't around because Pontiac was gone.
They just started making them again. I don't know who owns Pontiac.
Well, it was GM, so it'd be probably them again.
But yeah, Camaros look stupid. Anyway,
yeah, they look like a 50-year-old man car.
Yeah, they do.
Well,
they look like slightly better than a Sebring.
Yeah. So anyway, the money, right, and the challenge of getting across the country and back is what puts them on the road. But what puts them in danger is picking up Sally Fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing a pretty good job. They were gonna sail through this whole movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they'll be like an episode of Dukes of Hazzard.
Yep.
We're done.
do a jump, and there'll be some Waylon Jennings that would be talking about what them Duke boys are up to. Yeah, we're done. But yeah, now she doesn't help either because she leaves her car in a place that can be found.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're screwing themselves up, and Jerry Reed's not doing anything but driving the fucking rig. I mean, he's not messing up. He's doing his part.
Nope, he actually only gets pulled over once.
That's right. He does. Yeah.
But even Bandit's not doing anything terribly wrong. He doesn't veer from the course too much. But what puts him at odds is the fact that the teens recognized knew his license plate. Yes. So the sheriff knew that Sally Fields got in his car. So he has a target, right?
Right. And yeah, so she is supposed to be marrying his idiot son.
Junior.
I lost my hat. And he says, I hope your head went with it.
I mean, Jackie Gleason, his one-liners are way too numerous to say back. Almost everything he says is a one-liner in this movie.
It's pretty
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, the one that I like is so he picks up, so Sally Fields on the side of the road, and she's ditching the car, and she wants to get in the first car that comes by, which happens to be Bandit. So she gets in, and he she's got her suitcase, and she takes off her dress. She gets into her normal clothes, and then as they take off, these kids who are just waiting for a car to be abandoned on the side of the road pull out from around the corner. These guys are opportunistic because they were there, man.
Yeah.
So they pull out from around the corner and they're going to strip the car, right?
Yeah.
And so then Sheriff Justice comes up and says, he goes, basically telling him he wants to stay there. He doesn't want them to do anything, and especially don't want them to play with themselves.
You can think about
it, but you can't do it.
It's so goofy. This scene was so goofy. I'm just like, oh.
I don't care. That scene could have gone on for another 10 more minutes and I would have been fine.
Especially if he kept hitting him in the nuts.
Yeah. This movie could have gone on for 4 hours and I would not have grown tired of it.
Well, Jeff, you have 6 more to watch, so go for it. Yeah.
Yep.
I sure do. I mean, maybe only really 2 more decent ones, and then the rest are going to be pain.
Bandit.
I totally understand that sentiment, but I also think this movie is about the perfect length.
Oh, it is.
When I start to lose steam with it, it's like, okay, we're done.
It is. Yeah. It is. I mean, the nature of the movie is exhausting.
Yeah.
Because it is, like I said, once they get on the road, there is the one scene where Burt Reynolds got to give his mustache ride, but other than that,
that's it. Those scenes are well needed. Like the scene where he runs into Buford at the spit and puke. What do they call them? Spit something and puke.
The choking.
The choke and puke.
Choke and puke. And he buys his sandwich. That's just, it slows down the story for a minute, but it's also semi-tense.
It's tense because it's like, it's like, go to the bathroom sheriff so he can just fucking book it out of there.
And I have a feeling like Burt Reynolds was cleaning real food off his face in that scene. Like Gleason was eating that Diablo sandwich and spitting it all back on him.
Oh my God. Yeah, he was scarfing. My goodness.
That's why it's called a choke and puke.
Yeah.
We should probably, right? Like, I know we all have an opinion on Gleason in this movie. We should probably talk about him because he is well over the top of anyone else in this,
Yes.
like by a lot.
Yes.
I happen to think it's hilarious most of the time, but he's also a bit like, okay, Jackie, settle down, man.
It's like take it down from an 11 to a 9, man. I mean,
right. It would have been more impactful if he hit 11 occasionally.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's
always
running
at 11. Yeah.
Yes. He's poontanging around the whole movie.
The whole goddamn movie.
He's so at 11 all the time that sometimes he has to go to 12.
Yeah. The only thing more gratuitous than Gleason is the use of the word son, which is like 80% of the script.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone calls everyone son.
Yeah, Jerry Reed is insane in this movie too. Everybody's a fucking cartoon.
Jerry Reed is great.
He is
Great.
When he is cackling on the radio, it's like he has been on the road a bit too long.
I love him. I love his dog. They might be my favorite people in the movie. Jerry Reed and his dog. Snowman and his dog.
Probably. Yeah, I would agree with that. But he's nuts because he's sleeping backwards in his bed when you meet him. Like, that's all you need to know about this man. He's upside down in bed.
He's also like pretty chill, right? He's just doing his thing. The only time he really panics is when his dog wants to go for a swim.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, even in the bar fight, it's just like you kind of feel like it's probably a weekly occurrence for him.
Well, yeah, because they say the normal happen. And he's like, yeah, and normal.
I lost.
He lost. Yeah.
It's like try again. But it really is like Jackie Gleason is so tuned up that when his scenes end and it goes back to Bandit and Snowman, it's like a relief. It really is. It's like, oh God, thank goodness, because both of those characters are very cool, right?
I don't think
Sally
that
Field is a little bit of a chatterbox, but she's not annoying.
Right.
And they have a good kind of like
Well,
back and forth thing going.
You
like
can understand why they get
like a
to
rat-a-tat.
Yeah,
tete-a-tete.
You get a good reason why they end up liking each other by the end.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, it doesn't.
Well, they're
even take
both
by
witty
then.
as fuck, They're
Right.
both like can give as good as they get,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I liked it when he left her at the bus station, which was connected to the choke and puke. I want to call everything a choke and puke.
Uh-huh.
But and like her saying it's like, well, I didn't want to leave, I wanted to stay, and it's like that was a nice scene. It was like, oh, okay, yeah. It's like, I'm afraid you're going to say no, I don't like reject, and it's like those are things that somebody who doesn't really know the person but kind of wants to stick around the person would kind of ramble on, and it's
yeah, I like that. Well, too, Sally Field, yes, her chattiness is like nervousness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it plays well, right?
Yeah.
It's not like annoying like you said.
Right.
But also I like that they have that when they do have the I only take my hat off for one thing scene.
Yeah.
They're trying to come, like, they both know they like each other.
they're both
trying to
come.
They're just trying to, yes. There you go.
Poop
That's
to
it.
pop, Chuck.
Yeah, too poop to pop. No, they're trying to find their commonality with one another, and they can't do it. But it's obvious that they're both just drifters, right? They're both just that's their lot in life.
Well, yeah,
and
I mean,
that's what is
her whole
common.
situation is because she drifted into this town as a dancer, got hooked up with Junior, and just thought out of the blue, maybe I'll marry the guy.
Right. So she's made these kind of decisions before. What were you going to say, Jason? You had a funny one, I think.
When Bandit says that he only takes his hat off for one thing, Susan, like without missing a beat, said, "The shower."
Well, that's hilarious. Steph goes, "You know what that means?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "He doesn't take his hat off to shower." So
But then it's like, you would think, of course, he would fuck with his hat on, right? I mean, the fact that he takes it off is almost kind of goofy.
Well, I mean, he is essentially playing a goofy, dumb, older version of that character in Striptease, and he doesn't take his boots off the fuck in that movie.
Nope. Probably
Even
doesn't
when
take
he's-
them off
even
in
when-
the shower either.
Well, even when he's covered with Vaseline, he didn't take his boots off.
That's true. I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
It's a bad movie. It's a bad.
Which
Why did
movie?
Striptease?
That's
that movie's shit. I mean, Showgirls is so much better.
You know what my favorite Sally Field line is, though? Is when it's so good. Because, all right, so the whole movie, Susan and I are trying to figure out who Smokey is. We're like, it's not, I originally thought it was his partner, Snowman, but he's Snowman, right? So we're thinking, oh, it's probably Sally Field. Sally Field's Smokey because she's smoking. Right? She takes up smoking because she's nervous. But when
Oh, that's great.
but later when she starts driving, when after the choke and puke, and he's like visibly concerned for his safety, and he just goes and starts smoking a cigarette. She's like, "Yeah, smoke. It helps." It fucking killed me.
I have to ask though. You know who Smokey is now, right?
Yeah, it's
It's the
Buford
cops.
T. Justice or
It's
whatever.
the cops.
It's all the cops. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's kind of hilarious. Smoke, it helps. She's so sweet and her delivery is so good in this. And she sounds like, and then maybe this is a Sally Fields thing in general. She sounds like an old soul. Like when she says stuff, like she sounds unsure but wise almost about
She's also
things.
authentic to the character, right?
Yes.
I mean, she's coal miner's daughter. God damn it, right? That was her, right? Or is that
No,
Sissy Spacek?
yes.
Which one was Sally Field? She's not coal miner's
Gidget?
daughter.
Norma Ray.
Norma Ray.
Oh,
Thank
no,
you.
no,
I get those two mixed up.
Places in the Heart also.
Yeah.
Two Oscars.
Norma Ray. She's authentic. Yeah.
Right. Well, which is good because like she's not over glamorized either. You know, I mean, she looks like the type of person that would be in this type of scenario. Like the perfect girl for the guy who's the bandit, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
she's not overdone. She's not what's her name that is which is the roadside hooker that one of the cops is with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Foxy lady?
That's
Foxy
pretty funny.
lady, yeah.
That's pretty funny. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple. Which were all the women on there was
Hot
guess,
pants.
Hot Pants. Was Hot Pants the one that was with all the teenagers and the
Yes.
roadsters?
Yes.
Okay, I liked Hot Pants a lot.
She's cute. She's cute.
Oh yeah, she was cute. Yeah. I'm with you. Susan MacGyver. That's Susan MacGyver. I don't know what the hell else she was ever
Susie
in. But
Ewing also, but yeah, she was in like a Dean Martin movie.
shit. What was I gonna say?
Oh shit, she's in Police Women. Oh, I know.
Oh,
who she
back
is.
to Sally Field. I guess Burt Reynolds had to fight for her.
They
to
were
be
boyfriend and
cast.
girlfriend shortly or as they were filming that.
Yeah, I guess the studio wanted someone sexier, and Burt Reynolds.
Oh, really?
And Burt Reynolds basically like put his foot down. And
then
I don't
did
know
he
if
go-
it was. I don't know if it was a if she goes I go situation, but yeah, he fought.
Oh,
for her.
she's fucking perfect in that.
He did a few of those things and like fought for things in this movie because there's a scene where and I learned this today. The scene where they do the jump over the fence into the football field
Yeah,
with all the kids there.
Holy shit!
yeah, kids in peril, man.
Well, they did their due diligence, right, for this scene. They had it all set up for safety, but somebody watered the fucking field.
Oh,
that
they
morning.
are sliding all over the. Oh
They
yeah,
could-
that was terrifying.
The drivers couldn't stop the car. And they had footage.
God.
They said they had footage that was so terrifying, and people were in literal danger that they couldn't use it in the film. And then Burt Reynolds was like, "No more stunts where innocent people can get hurt." Like he put his foot down. Like we're not doing this.
Go Burt
Well,
Reynolds.
yeah.
I mean, frankly, this movie doesn't get made without Burt Reynolds either. I
No,
think,
and
he did it. He did essentially as a favor to Hal, even though he still got $1 million to do it.
Well, he was the biggest star in the
That's
world
insane, $1 million?
at the time.
$1 million, yeah.
Yeah.
He was the biggest box office draw in
Of the
the world
70s.
at the time.
Yeah.
Which makes sense that it fought with Star Wars, right? At least domestically for a time.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
started
I mean-
thinking, imagine if Burt Reynolds was Han Solo.
Was he supposed to be?
That movie would have made
I'm sure
$14
he
billion
auditioned
in 1977.
because everybody auditioned for Han Solo. But it would have made like $1 billion in 1977.
That's amazing.
I mean, good God. Yeah, I mean, and imagine if Tom Selleck was Indiana Jones and then that movie just shit the bed.
And then it didn't do anything. Yeah. Nobody cared. Crickets.
But we had to talk about Burt Reynolds too, because he's kind of understated in this in a way, like compared to everyone else that's around.
He's just a presence in
Yeah.
this.
He is a presence, and his character could be swarmy, his character could be greasy and annoying and just plain unlikable. And just Burt being Burt, it's like, I like that guy.
Hey, right.
Right.
I'm going to go hang out with the bandit.
Yep.
Yeah. Like because you're flipping the table here, right? You're rooting for the guy who's breaking the law the entire movie.
Well, yeah,
And the
stick it
bad
to the
guy
man.
of the
Just stick it to
police.
the man.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Which it takes a certain kind of person to like naturally make you like them without any of the other shit happening, right?
Right.
Like you just like him. And I didn't know Burt Reynolds is the biggest star in the world when I first saw this. He was
Sure,
just
me neither.
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
And I loved him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Burt Reynolds, ever since he passed away, I've wanted to do a Burt Reynolds movie on the show. In fact, even before he passed away, I wanted to do Gator and White Lightning, which are sequels. I mean, they're and it's bootlegging.
Right.
I mean,
He's bootlegging White Lightning, right? In
Right.
both.
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah. But yeah, it's like I've been wanting to do, something Burt Reynolds for a long time. Now you get to a certain point. You get to a certain point in Burt Reynolds' career where it's like, maybe not anymore. We're not going to talk about Cop and a Half or something,
Ooh.
But he did do, is it City Heat that it was him and, City Heat is
City
Clint
Heat.
Eastwood and Burt Reynolds. I mean,
What year was that?
84.
Oh, okay.
And it's a,
I mean, he did Boogie Nights late,
well, yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, like, and but still, it's like this. But this is the first one.
Yeah, but that was kind of a comeback role,
Yeah.
That's kind of like the Travolta in Pulp Fiction.
A little bit, yeah. Not a little bit, probably a lot of it. But he didn't have the same run that Travolta did after.
Not after. No, he didn't.
No, but still, I mean, I'm very pleased that this is the one that we did first for Burt
Deliverance
Reynolds,
is
because
one we should do sometime.
Sure, I mean, absolutely, but this
Yep.
this is Burt and his fucking prime.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely it is.
I mean, every once in a while, it's just fun to cover a fun movie, I think. And this is just one of those movies, like, even when I was debating picking it, I'm like, it's just a guy in a car for like an hour and a half, but there's stuff to like there, and the stunts are good. Like, from that perspective, we're just talking purely about like the stunt work in this movie. It's still like top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is. Oh, it is. Absolutely. Like,
well, and as I said to you, Chuck, like directly, I was glad you picked this because it was freaking fun to watch.
Yeah.
I was having a blast watching it.
It makes me want to go watch the Cannonball Runs and like
Yeah, me
continue
too.
like watching these types of films. And Cannonball Run may be more fun.
yeah.
Like that's the one I remember. Like,
That's
oh,
one I remember too. I was a big fan of those road race movies. Like Jeff and I have almost since the beginning of the podcast been talking about doing It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. I don't know why we haven't yet.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
it's sitting over there on my shelf waiting for us.
should do that in Rat Race back to back.
Oh man, I do love me some Rat Race.
Ooh, we could do a whole month where we do those. We do Cannonball Run. We do, I don't know, something.
Please excuse us while we have a meeting in the middle of the episode.
Tell us what you think. If you agree, email us at filmseizure@gmail.com.
I still wanna get Gmail at filmseizure.com. But anyway,
One of these days.
one of these days. But no, so yeah, but I mean, like, and what's kind of great is, okay, yeah, first of all, that scene in which they bust into the freaking Pee-wee football game, funny, yes. Second, also quite scary, and apparently it really was freaking white knuckle ride.
Good Lord, yeah.
But I also like the fact that Buford T. Justice and Junior pull up, and it's like, do you see where he went? And Junior, stands up. And he's like, "It's a football game, Dad.
Can I stay and watch?
Can we stay and watch?"
Fucking Junior holding Jackie Gleason's hat on the whole movie is just
Even when they get out of the fucking car,
just kills
he's like walking with his hand on his head.
Explain why does he have to hold the hat though?
because yeah, they lost the top of their car underneath the truck, and
This
he
was
lost
when
his hat.
This is in the chase that ultimately leads to the football field.
Yeah.
Sally Field's driving the Trans Am, and a semi is backing out, and like, oh shit! But the Trans Am goes under the semi, but not the police car, and it just tears off the top of the car. That cop's car, or Buford T. Justice's car, is the most abused thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's evidence.
It is. It's evidence. He tells the one Georgia cop to fuck off.
Over the horn, which is really funny because he's chastising him for swearing at him, and then right when he's about to take off, he's like, "Fuck off!" But the horns go.
There's some really dumb lines, like the goddamn Germans got nothing to do with it. Oh my god, it's like such an eye roll.
Yeah.
One of my like favorite moments though, probably I laughed like my ass off when he's got to pass the truck, right, to get in front, and so he goes around on the grass and he wipes out all the mailboxes.
Yes.
And there's nothing said about it.
Oh
Nobody
my God.
says anything about it.
Absolutely killed me.
I think Bert laughs a little bit at that.
Oh,
I think he goes,
later on, Gleason and in his litany of crimes, he mentions it, but oh man, it just destroyed me.
He's wanted for attempted murder on 20 of our finest brothers, or whatever.
Yeah, brothers in arms or whatever.
Yeah.
Law enforcement officers. Yeah.
Oh my God.
The scene where Jackie Gleason dresses down the state highway patrolman.
Yeah.
So that was like really getting under my skin, right? Him like with his pointing and his poking, right? And I'm just like, oh my God, this guy's just got to just put him, like, end him. I was so happy that this cop was standing up to him, and then of course he folds like a tent, and but the performance for that cop is really good because he's very authoritative. He's not taking any shit from Gleason, and then he plays like this meep and wilted.
He just
like,
melts.
Melts, and he plays both personalities perfectly. I was like, man, that's a good little performance. That guy probably had that on his reel for the rest of his career.
Yeah, and there's a funny part about that scene. The whole time it's going on, they kind of get turned around, which is like, from dominant to sub or whatever, and they're turned around and Jackie Gleason ends up in the road. I'm like, man, I wish a car would just fucking run him
just
over.
Run him over. Yeah. Every time Jackie Gleason's got to get out of that car though is fucking comedy, like unintentional comedy. It is hilarious.
Yeah.
He's struggling.
Yeah. How old was he at this point? He had to be pretty old, right?
God, I don't know.
Sure.
Probably in his 60s.
I don't know. I can't do math.
Yeah. Oh wow, he
here.
was only 61.
Yeah. So he was
That's-
probably 60 when they were filming this.
He wasn't much
61
longer
by
for the world. He died 10 years later.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like 60-year-olds now do not look like Jackie Gleason.
Not most of them.
They look like Burt Reynolds in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of insane.
It is kind of insane.
So not that this is important, because it really, like, the whole idea of the story kind of gets lost with everything that's going on. Like the transfer of the beer is the big deal. But they do get it to the fair, right? And
They come barreling into the fair.
yes, and it's pretty epic. Like, they have choppers on them.
Yeah.
They have multiple
Well, yeah,
cops.
because Bandit's like, hey,
He's
I hate
kind
to
of
say
resigned.
it. Yeah,
He's
it's
kinda
like, I hate to
resigned.
say it, Snowman, but I think, I don't
He
think
wasn't
we're going to make
expecting
it.
this much smoke.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
But then Snowman's like, we've come this far. We're not going to end it. Get out of the way. I'm coming through. And they really do just fucking destroy the fair.
And everybody's cheering.
Yep.
Fuck that fairgrounds.
Or the Coors is here, one or the other.
Well, either one. Yeah, I mean, let's face it. Bandit is a legend. And so therefore, anything he does, and everybody knows it's him driving. It doesn't matter what car he's driving, doesn't matter what truck he's in. They know it's him, so they just cheer. They just have like this. The universe has commanded that they cheer for him when they sense that he is near.
Oh, they're
But yeah,
they're
I mean, there's
ready
a
for him.
daisy chain of CB like activity.
Yeah,
I think.
they're
like
they're waiting for him because they know he's coming their way. Yeah, it's great. And so they're all helping out. You got the bonsai Japanese cowboy helping out. You got the good witch of the north, the old lady helping out. It's like,
Dude, that
she
seems
wrecks her
hilarious.
Oh my
car.
God.
She wrecks her car to help him.
Did you notice she's standing in the car through the windshield? That fucking killed me.
Well, and then he's like, what does the guy say to her? Something like, you're supposed to signal or something.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Oh,
oh,
really?
am I?
really?
Yeah.
Or oh, am I? Whatever she says. there.
Something
But
like
that's
that.
what's great about this movie is like everybody ahead of him is like, I'm going to do something to get him to the end. Like, it's like, is he really a legend, or is he a legend because people are willing to help him get to where he needs to be, right? Like, he couldn't have done it without 80% of those people.
Well, that's fair, but he probably wouldn't have had to if he hadn't picked up Sally Field.
Right. I mean, you're right. It would have been an easy.
And then he would have, obliterated. He still beat the record, but he would have obliterated the 28-hour record.
Because he didn't
What do you
have
think
to-
happened to the beer? Do you think they got to drink it, or do you think because the cops showed up with him that it all just got?
Got confiscated or something?
Well,
confiscated?
I kind of look at it like this because Big and Little Enos are the Burdettes. I have a feeling Big Burdette.
It'll forever make me chuckle.
I suspect the Big Enos is not going to be arrested, and the bootlegger's not there.
True.
They take off.
And
I
quite
suspect that-
frankly, I think that Big Enos holds quite a lot of power and weight in that town. Yep.
Well, he definitely holds a lot of something.
Yeah, like the people of Atlanta, Georgia, aren't going to blow him in. It was everyone in between that were the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair.
But yeah, I don't know.
But again, the beer is kind of unimportant to the story overall.
That's going to be warm beer, by the way. You're not going to
Well-
be able to celebrate that right now.
Agreed. It is going to be warm beer. And I also read something about the fact that Coors Banquet could only be unrefrigerated for something like 7 days without spoiling.
Oh, they're going to have to do a lot of drinking in the next 6 days.
Yeah, but they can refrigerate it. But if it's refrigerated for more than 7 days, it will spoil. Probably because there was no added preservatives or anything.
Right. It wasn't pasteurized and
Right.
preserved. Yeah.
So it is going to become a chunky banquet of a beer.
It
That's
might.
Yeah.
great.
It might be some prime rib in there. Yeah.
Mm.
Meaty.
That's
It's a
real
meaty
gross.
beer.
That's real gross.
But they're not done yet. They have a hankering for something else,
Oh yes. Oh yes, they do.
Clam chowder.
which, to my knowledge, clam chowder should be something they could just pick up at the fucking Piggly Wiggly down the street, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
but
thought
not-
my thought was they can go as far north as they need to and come back. Yeah.
Yeah. But I also think that's not in Bandit. Like he is going to beat it by breaking the rules or by
Agreed.
following the rules of the contest, right?
He's doing it for the thrill of the thing. Yep.
Yeah.
They need 8, so that's going to be in 18 hours. So what's Boston to Atlanta? Is that where they're starting?
They're somewhere in
Atlanta,
Georgia. I don't know.
Well, let's
Georgia's
just see.
pretty big.
Boston to Atlanta.
He's from Atlanta, GA, at least in the song. So,
Well, we'll just say Atlanta because that's the only thing in Georgia, right? That's a 16-hour, 50-minute drive.
They got the Go Bandit signs like ready to go, man. They put up.
I'm telling you,
They painted it on bed sheets and they're ready for him.
They are ready. But yeah, so I mean, he could make it in 18 hours. But they've gone on. I mean, they are ODing on no-dos at this point.
Oh, my favorite Gleason moment. I think the funniest fucking scene that he is in is when he comes out of the choke and puke. With the toilet paper stuck to his sunglasses.
And it's like several rolls.
It's fantastic.
does he look at that girl and say nice ass?
He says nice ass. That's what Susan and I were like, did he say nice ass?
It was really weird.
It was weird.
And
like, I'm not going to judge her ass, but it didn't make sense in this.
No, but it kind of
strange. Yeah,
but it kind of makes sense to him though, because everything's bigger in Texas, so he likes the little bit bigger ass.
Okay,
and he's kind of big. He's not a small guy, so he's into that. He's into that choke and puke ass.
Yep. Everyone's a horn dog in this movie.
Oh yeah, I mean the whole name for the whole handle name for Sally Field is
jump on me. Jump on me.
He wants to jump her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's insane. They just all want to.
Snowman is like, well, would you get yourself a seat cover there, Bandit?
Oh yeah, dude, that's so funny. And then he's like, "Is she wearing a wedding dress?" He's like, "Not anymore." What's she wearing? You tell me what she's wearing. Come on over.
So good.
He is just great in this movie.
Love him. Absolutely love him. Like he's playing off everything perfectly.
Yes. And he acted a lot before. I mean, he's mostly a country singer, right?
Yeah. Pretty well known country singer. I don't know what he was in.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, he was himself in a Scooby-Doo.
I remember that.
Well, that would make sense. Yeah.
That was his first acting gig in the episode "The Phantom of the Country Music Hall."
I remember that.
But like here, it's like WW
like
and the
he should
Dixie
have been in a
Bands.
Robert Altman film or two.
No?
Oh, here it is. Here we go. So yeah, so in '75 he was in a John Avildsen movie with Burt Reynolds, WW and the Dixie Dance Kings, and then he was in Gator.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, Highball, it's a Canadian trucker movie. So it's a slightly shittier.
So he was in the Canadian knockoff of Smokey and the Bandit a year after Smokey and the Bandit. That's amazing.
Take your roles, man. Take your roles.
I wonder if he was the Bandit, because he was originally gonna be the Bandit if Hal Needham was able to make the movie, unless he got Burt Reynolds.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not read that.
I mean, he's in mostly Burt Reynolds stuff.
Or Burt Reynolds adjacent stuff.
Or Burt Reynolds adjacent stuff. I mean, he was even on an episode of Evening Shade.
I don't know what hot stuff is, but it looks like some kind of goofy road race thing.
Yeah,
it's got Dom DeLuise in it.
So adjacent to Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, for sure.
Although let's face it, Dom DeLuise is adjacent to everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, he really gets around.
He's in The Survivors. That Robin Williams, Walter Matthau movie. It's not very good, is it? That's Michael Ritchie though. We've done some Michael Ritchie. Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was on an episode of Alice.
Michael Ritchie recently, I thought. Maybe it was Bad News Bears, I'm remembering.
Apparently, his
Yeah.
final film was The Water Boy.
Oh, weird. Yeah, he was the coach.
Oh
Holy
my God,
shit.
I forgot that.
Holy fucking shit. That's a pretty funny role. Huh.
He also died at the age of 71. Both he and
Dang.
Jackie Gleason.
Dang.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say about this movie other than it's fun as shit.
One more real quick thing about Jerry Reed. This is probably true. This is actually probably quite true. CMT called Jerry Reed, quote, a genuine original who helped take country music and the country lifestyle to a larger mainstream audience. I 100% agree with that. I mean, you listen to his country music and it's like, it's good. I mean, it's, yeah, that's what you call good country, is the
Yeah.
actual like fiddling and picking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
The picking and the singing?
yeah.
Get into singing.
He's singing to that can there.
Anyway,
Oh,
yeah,
well,
no, this is a good movie. This is a fun movie, well worth the 96 minutes.
Absolutely.
That was fun.
And also when Bandit tells Smokey Bear, Buford T. Justice, that, hey, I'm right behind you, you know,
Look over your
kind
left
of-
shoulder. I
kind
can't
of-
lie to you because you're a good man. Look
right,
over
they're
your
tipping
left
the
shoulder.
hat, and they kind of, you know, compliment each other as far as the chase. And then he takes off without Junior, and Junior's running down the street saying, "But who's going to hold your hat?"
Good
The
stuff.
perfect last line for this movie.
Good
I was
stuff.
really surprised that none of the chase scenes were in ×2 speed with some of the music they were playing.
Yeah, when they did Eastbound and Down in horns, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? This is a movie that could be like 46 minutes long and just do everything in two
Right.
times speed. It would
For
be kind
sure.
of like
But
a Benny Hill, Smokey and the Bandit.
Uh-huh.
I like to think though that Hal Needham at least knew what he was doing.
It looked like it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's adept.
I
At
mean,
least all the car
he
shit was
knew
adept.
what he was tapping into. I'll give him that for sure.
Yep.
Kind of crazy, because a movie like this, I don't think would do very well today.
Unless you had Pedro Pascal play Burt Reynolds.
I mean, but
He
you know,
looks a
Well, yeah,
lot like him.
because we can't even.
but they
we
would
can't-
shoot it with like all like sepia tone and blue filters and shit. It would like look like a Michael Mann movie.
You'd need the
if
right
you
person.
made Smokey and the Bandit today.
You'd
Well-
need the right person to do it. Like if what's his name from the Eastbound and Down show? Like he was going to
Okay,
do a
I'm glad
show of it.
that's the what?
See, I'd be afraid.
Yeah,
if
no,
I-
Why can't I bring something up? Why do you
I'd
have to
be
bring it up?
afraid. I'd be afraid it would go the direction of the Dukes and Hazzard remake, which is not good.
I don't think so. Go ahead, Jeff.
All right.
The Broken Lizard movie.
In October 2020, a Smokey and the Bandit TV series was revealed to be in development. A pilot written by David Gordon Green and Brian Sides,
Oh,
and
wow,
executive produced with his Roughhouse Confederates, Jody Hill, Danny McBride, and Brandon James, and Seth MacFarlane and Erica Huggins of Fuzzy Door.
okay. It seems
So it's
almost.
coming.
It seems almost like too perfect.
I feel like half of those people would get it. If
But
Danny McBride is the larger voice in that, I think it would go the right way. But I could be wrong.
Well,
I could also just see it being a. I don't know. It just feels like nothing would surprise you, right?
right.
You know
I
what
mean, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. It's like, would those people just be remaking essentially the first two movies, or would they actually tell a new story and maybe do more of a pastiche? If it's a little bit more the pastiche route, the Seth MacFarlane is interesting because the Orville is such
Yeah.
a great pastiche of Star Trek that I think he could get the pastiche if he's able to actually just leave the original alone and just do something different or do something slightly different or just, have some road fun, as
I think
opposed to, being a
I think
bootlegger.
I think if Danny McBride were the bandit, I would be worried. Because I feel like it would play it like his character from
I agree.
Eastbound and Down, and it would be kind of like playing against type. Like, he's this badass motherfucker, but he's kind of a schlubby everyman in actuality, who's not very smart. I feel like that's the way they would play it. And
I don't know. To me, he feels like he'd be better off being Sheriff Buford.
If he were a sheriff, that could work. He could also work as a snowman a little bit. I could see that work.
That's where I was originally thinking, but then I'm like, no, if he
sheriff
riffed on the Jackie Gleason role would be kind of good.
Sheriff would work. It would work. Yeah. It would give him the place to like be his persona.
Be obnoxious, right?
Yeah, be obnoxious,
over the top.
Exactly.
And
What would you think of?
And then Pedro Pascal as
Pedro Pascal would be the.
It's got to be.
He would be the perfect one, but that guy has way too many TV shows that he can't juggle right now. But what about somebody like Zac Efron?
I kind of like it a little bit.
I see him as a junior, almost too.
Oh, he could do that too. Yeah, no, he could be junior, like Danny McBride.
Yeah.
Because he's got that kind of straight man face, but he can be funny and dopey.
Yep.
Yeah.
God, as long as it's not Timothy Chalamet, I'll be cool.
What if he's junior?
He could be work. Fred the dog.
Yeah.
Hire us, Hollywood. We have all the good ideas.
All right. Yeah, exactly. All right, we're off the rails at this point.
Yeah, we've jumped the rails.
But we're gonna land it on a football field and hopefully not hit any children. Right. We had fun this week, but now we're like, not that we won't have fun next week, but we have kind of a big movie. Right? Like, what is our
big milestone too?
Yes. Yeah. So interestingly, when we were charged with planning out the month of February leading up to episode 250, Chuck and I picked, the movies, and we had Psycho. We had a good time with My Cousin Vinny. We're having a good time this week. What's interesting is that both Chuck and I, in February of 1977, were born, and both of these last two movies leading up to the 250th movie were made in 1977, celebrating an anniversary as the series, as the podcast is celebrating a milestone. Mm-hmm. So with
spooky.
Yeah, I know, right? It's almost as if we kind of accidentally planned it that way.
Yeah,
so for episode number 250, we are going to take a look at Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which also, by the way, this show takes place in Indiana. A lot of that movie takes place in Indiana. So there you go.
Another childhood favorite. I look forward to talking about that one.
This is, I'll get way more into it, but I'll just say right now, this is the best science fiction movie made in 1977.
Well, it's also the third highest grossing movie in the United States
in 1977. Yeah. Second worldwide. But it is pure sci-fi, and this may be the first time since Blade Runner that we've actually had pure sci-fi. Have we done a pure sci-fi since? Because I wouldn't count the Star Trek movies.
No.
Except for maybe the first one.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So Close Encounters, Third Kind.
It also kind of connects to Psycho in a weird way through Francois Truffaut.
Yeah, it does. And I know the last pure sci-fi movie we've done, Clockwork Orange.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Anyway, but still, been a while. It's a hard genre to find because pure sci-fi doesn't really register with a lot of people. So I wanted to actually kind of get into that, and it's a fantastic movie. It's great, and I look forward to talking about that. I hope everybody else here is looking forward to talking about it, and I hope everybody listening.
God, I'm like nervous about the episode because it's like Dave Lichty's favorite movie. And he listens to us, and man, we're gonna get the best email from Dave after that episode. I can't wait.
Get ready, Dave. We're not coming for you.
Thanks for listening, Dave.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? One for them, one for us, right?
Yep.
And this time it was one for us. Next time it was one for them. I don't know what that means, but
I don't
that's
either.
I don't either.
Anyway.
I'll just say it's perfect.
Doesn't matter, but that's next Wednesday. Go to filmseizure.com. You'll find all the places that you can listen to the show, and you can find us and so on. On Monday, I am in the third part of my second Dr. Cyberman month of Monster Mondays with The Wheel in Space. Not a bad little serial there. So you can catch all of that also on filmseizure.com. And then on my website, bmovieanima.com, it is the third week of Full Moon Fever Part 3, and it's The Killer Eye.
Ooh.
It's just a little eye monster going around and making people horny. I can't make this shit up. Anyway.
Somebody did.
Well, that person was David Dakota, and God bless David Dakota for making shit up like that. Anyway, so that is on Friday at bmovieanima.com. Guys, let's hit the road. Let's get eastbound and down. Let's load it up and truck it. We're going to do some things that they say can't be done.
Yes, we are.
So
we got a long way to go and a short time to get there.
Yeah.
So until next time.
Right. For episode number 250. And we'll see you then. I am Jeff Arbuckle.
I'm Rubber Chucky.
I'm Jarmo, and you have been listening to Film Seizure.
10-4, good buddies.